Welcome to the next episode of Discipline, Desire, Dedication. My name is Dakota Lang, along co-host Garrett Cotton. Today we have a two-time Golden Door winner. It's actually our market owner over our Albuquerque Performance Windows office, Hayden Crawford. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? Hi, good to be here.
Super glad to have you. I know we're going to really dive into your story and all that, but let's just kind of backtrack a little bit because I know you have a bunch of prior sales experience as well. Kind of talk about, how you got to Performance Windows.
Okay. I guess the first thing I ever sold door to door was subscriptions to the newspaper when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, a guy picked me up after school and would take me on a route, a bunch of kids, and we would sell subscriptions to the newspaper, had a little script and stuff. And then I didn't get back into sales until like my 30s, when I started selling like low ticket items. I started selling internet, alarm systems, stuff like that. And then I started selling higher ticket items like solar, and then roofing projects. And then I got recruited to Performance Windows from a guy that I used to sell solar with. Yeah, and I've been here for like since 2024, February.
Right. I always, especially like talking to different guys that were in different industries in the door-to-door space, right? I love hearing their different perspectives on like what makes Performance Windows different,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
How would you relate to how would you explain that to somebody who is maybe still a solar rep or selling roofs right now?
And did you have some success in solar and roofing? Like,
I did.
relate those
Yeah,
to
I did.
performance.
I was pretty good at both of those industries and at internet. I was pretty good at sales. I just had naturally what I call the gift of gab.
Yeah.
But other door-to-door industries, a lot of it is they just teach you the product, and all the features and benefits of the product, and now it's like, now go sell it. And it's kind of up to you. And they don't have the systems or the accountability things in place to guarantee your success. Like you either had it or you didn't, and back then, even though I was good, a lot of times I couldn't replicate my own success. I had off days and I couldn't pinpoint why. I couldn't train anyone else unless they had it too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's very cool because I obviously did real estate before I came to Performance. And I really like what you said is like they train you on the product, but they don't train you on how to sell the product.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it kind of relates with me in real estate because when you go into real estate, like everybody's like, all right, there's a house, and people want to go see this house. It's like, okay, well, how do I sell them on this house?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can walk in and I can show them all the rooms and everything, but what differentiates a good realtor that can go in there and sell close the deal?
Yeah, get contract signed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that whenever I came into Performance as well, that's something immediate clicked. It's like, okay, well, the trainings that I'm getting taught and they're giving me all the skill set to where, okay, this works. You know?
This is how you do that.
Right. This is exactly how you do that. And the systems are proven.
Oh, you're having this problem? This is why you're having that problem. This is
Right.
how you fix that. Like, oh, cool. Awesome. That's great to know.
Right.
I'd even say that even as a market owner, because of how easy it is to train pretty much anybody for this job, I've gotten a little bit of backlash from the people in my office because I've kind of gotten an open arms policy. When people come through to my office, I'm like, hey, if you're wanting to go out there and grind and you're willing to, meet the minimums and, exceed the minimums, then I'm going to give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never really judge people by what they look like, especially being a market owner in Denver. I had some characters come through for sure, but
yeah, I've had the same type of
Albuquerque, I'd imagine, is
definitely so. But it's the same as pre-negatively qualifying a door or a potential customer. You never know how far somebody's going to take this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We got people that traditionally would be labeled socially awkward that do very, very well here. Yeah. Because of the systems and the trainings that we have in place.
You sold other stuff door to door and other sales companies, right? And you see people, especially, your office has been, 1.3, 1.5 million consistently. And you've had a bunch of turnover, right? People leaving this company. And a lot of times it's people that have came into your office and have had success, and then they go to different companies and they completely shit the bed. Why is that?
I think it's the accountability that we have in our office, and like, you can't gaslight me. I know the systems work. I know it's only comes down to an effort thing. And in my office, I can't fall in love with people's potential or what they did last week or last month.
Mhm.
You know, I can only fall in love with their result right now. It's performance. It's a result-based business. And so we do have a high turnaround rate because I look at all knockers as auditioning to work here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're like in spring training, or they're in tryouts to be on the team. You can qualify to be a member of this team in as little as 2 months, but it shouldn't take you longer than 6. And if it takes you longer than 6, it's an effort thing. So yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of, I always relate it back to, closer money is the life-changing money. That's that, professional athlete type of money. And yeah, as a knocker, I tell people as well, the longer you're in a position, the harder it gets.
Mhm.
So, when those people hit like the 6-month, 8-month time as being a knocker,
Mhm.
that's when I'm starting to hit in like a PIP to qualify, qualify or quit type of mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say the same thing to my people. Like, being a knocker at this job is a really good job. And if you lose it, you'll forever regret it.
Yeah.
You'll click on somebody that's in this room's Facebook page 5 years, 10 years from now, see them on their yacht in some tropical paradise. Oh, I remember when I used to work with that dude at Performance Windows.
Yep.
Don't be that dude. Don't treat the entry level tryout position as the, oh my gosh, I made it type thing.
Yeah.
Keep your nose to the grind, and because there's levels to this thing.
Yeah, when you first came in, kind of go through what it took for you to qualify. Was it a 2-month? Like, you were one of those quick guys, or
It took me 3 months.
3 months? Okay,
Yeah.
kind of tell the story about qualifying, some of your big challenges that you had to overcome, and what helped you to actually get there.
I think it ties into what we were just talking about, because of the systems that we have in place, and because you don't need to have like traditional charisma or be like the gift of gab to be, good at this job or have success.
So in your first month, did you apply the systems?
I did not. No, I walked into the Performance Windows office and I was like, "This dude made 10 grand last week. Give me that thing.
Watch
this.
Yeah.
Watch how I do this." And I was the number 1 appointment setter in the whole office for the whole month. I got the most people in schedule, and only had 12 appointments run.
Mm-hmm.
I had 6 to close, I think, which is very good.
Yep.
And
that's a hard working month,
yeah, no, it was. I set like 4, 5, 6 appointments every single day, and none of them were qualified the way that we do it. So, and at the end of the month, I actually called my market owner. I was so disgusted because I had set so many appointments, and I only had 6 closes. And I was like, "All right, dude, we tried it your way. Give me the window."
Just trying to get that close.
Yes, dude. I called him. I literally told him, "Hey, we need to renegotiate the terms of my employment." So I'm lucky I still work here.
That's so funny.
I know. And he's like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "It means I want to close, bro. I set more appointments than anyone else in the office, and I only have 6 closes. Like, how can my success be contingent on, your closers if they're not that good?"
That's such a big lesson for like listeners as well, is when people come in, we see it all. I did it as well. I'd set 6 appointments my first day, 0 ran. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like in my first month, I set so many appointments, and I didn't have success. I didn't qualify in my first month. It took me 6 months to qualify.
Yeah.
I did my 5th and 6th to qualify. But changing the mindset of, all right, I understand that I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because this guy in the room is doing the system, and he's getting paid. Would you say that what I did is I started to listen and shadow the people who were having success. And then I started to see that they were legitimately 100% on script. They were legitimately, focusing on the controllables.
Yeah, that's what I just listened to my market owner, because he checked me hard when I came at him like that. He showed me the Trello boards and was like, "Look, dude, you might have set a whole bunch of appointments, but you didn't set them the way we we set them. You didn't
Yeah.
qualify them.
Mhm.
And I had never even seen an appointment run at that point. So,
Yep.
you know, it was ignorant of me to think that,
Yeah.
you know, that I could do better. And when I saw that I only had 12 run and 6 close, and that what I really needed was to get, you know, my set to run ratio to go to turn
better.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
get better. And he could help me with that. So the next month I had 16 closes,
Yeah.
you know, and the next month I qualified, got my 8, and I did it in 11 days.
Yeah.
But talk about that experience a little bit more. You know, you're probably at that point in time, you had a lot of emotion going through you, which is what made you go in there and approach him that way. Talk about, like, 'cause I think that's a big thing that when people come into this company, right? Some people have a natural, you know, tendency to be good at this thing. But they also got to get humbled, right? And I always say the doors will humble you. Talk about, what was that, like a clicking moment for you? It was like, okay, wait, I'm not as big as I thought I was. Or
Yeah,
what was kind of
absolutely
your
was,
thought
because it was like, well, you don't have to work here.
right?
Dude, you can go work somewhere else,
Yeah.
you know? And it was like, well, I don't want that. I definitely want to work here. I want the result that you guys are getting, you know?
Would you say anger was part of that as well? Were you getting mad?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
I was getting,
you can probably remember, I used to tell people whenever they come to me mad, and when I'm at market owner and they're like mad at this closer or mad that they hadn't gotten paid, I'm like, "Ooh, we're so close. You're at the turning point right now.
Yeah.
You're either going to kick it on and get qualified, or you're about to quit." But
I was mad, yeah, because I call him upset, and I tried to do a takeaway on him, and it just flipped around on me, and it was, I thought there was like value in me because I had dropped so many emojis
thought you
in
were
the
the
chat.
sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
I like when Levi says
That I was like, hey, dude, I'll just leave and not work here unless you just make me a closer, you know. And
Newsflash.
cool, dude. Well, later, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that dude that I talk about clicks on one of these people's Facebook pages and sees them like, you know, just bought another apartment complex.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, God damn, you know, I used to work with that guy back. I don't want to be that dude. You know, this is my ticket. I see it as that. So,
Cash it in.
Yeah. And I treat every door with that mentality too. Like, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one.
Right.
That's awesome.
What so let's get back to talk about your qualifying and all that, right? You came in, you qualified right after. Did you already have your recruits whenever you did hit your qualifying months?
I had one recruit. And then when I finally qualified, I got stuck in that abyss where you are qualified, but you don't have a second recruit.
Yeah, I don't mean, and you ain't got to go too much into detail. But talk about, like, whenever you are going through those qualifying months and you have these uncontrollables in your outside of life, right? You have all this stuff going on in your life. How are you able to stay focused on that one specific thing when you have all these other voices in the back of your head that are telling you to worry about this, worry about that, the stuff that you can't control at that time?
Oh yeah, dude. I feel like everybody has obstacles on their path to success. You know, you either overcome those obstacles and make them an origin story, or you making them an excuse.
Yep.
And you're stopped by them. You know what I mean? So you have to just continue. The doors are the answer. The job is the answer. I promise. When I was trying to qualify, my transmission went out in my truck. I didn't like latch my success to anyone else's, ask anyone else for a ride, make my problem my market owner's problem. I just dropped my truck off at Amco, rented a vehicle, went to work, hit the doors, because I made in the week over more money than what it cost to fix my transmission. It's just
I've seen people rental cars for months, you know, but rather than, you know, they didn't have the money to go buy a car.
Yeah.
They probably did at some point, but they would
find a solution.
Get a rental car.
That's an excuse.
Uber.
And it's an excuse.
You know?
I don't have a car. Dude, you see what kind of money people are making here in a week? How's your credit? What's your credit limit?
You're good.
Go rent a car, dude. Get out here and get on the doors and get it done. So, like I said, everybody has obstacles. They're either excuses or origin stories.
Yeah. I always come back to that one-liner as well. It's like, champions will find a solution.
Yep.
And losers make excuses. I mean, and that's what you learn on the doors as well.
100%.
When you're out there and your battery is dying.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in Utah and my phone died. I set a 7:30 same day walk-in, walk to the driveway to go put it in Trello, phone dies. Right? You know, it's like, at that point, do I risk that? I mean, somebody else can fill the same day 7:30 because the chat doesn't know about it, you know. So again, champ, I go back to the next homeowner because I didn't want to mess with this home. I go charge my phone up at another home to be able to get to drop the emoji and stuff. But in any aspect of that, it's finding a solution to where you won't allow yourself to fail.
Same thing I had today. One time I was knocking these townhouses that all the front doors kind of faced a little man-made lake.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this lady, and she's like, "No, I don't think I'd be interested in that at all. But what is that?" She distracted me. I look behind me, and my Segway the steering wheel part of it is just like in the water, like a shark fin going, because my Segway had like mobbed off and went into the lake. I was like, "Oh crap!" I ran over there.
Yeah.
Before I knew what I was doing, I was knee deep in this lake, like grabbing my Segway out, and it was destroyed. And
now you're soaked.
Now I'm soaked. I smell like the swamp monster. I called my market owner. I'm like, "Dude, I gotta go home."
Yeah.
I told him what happened. He's like, "Man, that sucks, dude. I know, you were having a really good pace." I was like, "I know, dude. I know." I'm like, "This is terrible. I'm gonna see how long it'll take me to change." And then on my way out of Hood, I passed a Ross, and I was like, "You know what? I'm going in there." Went and bought some shoes, some pants, some socks, and got right back on the doors. Got the same day that closed.
That's how it goes.
So
the hard work pays off. Where intention goes, results will follow. So.
Yeah, and if it's your goal to be on the doors, you'll find a way to be on the doors. If it's your goal to be home, you'll say, "Oh, I have a headache today. Oh, I'm having this problem or that." But if your goal is to be at home, you'll figure out excuses to make that your reality.
To justify it. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest aspects towards like with our downline of, Louisiana people is we pluck ourselves from our comfortable environment. And like when I came to Utah, I don't have a hangout,
Right,
like,
yeah.
I ain't got a friend out here. Like my family's not here. So my only option is to put 100% of my time into this job. Because this is the only stability I have at the time. And whenever we recruit people from, out of state, they come to do that. This is their new obsession because there's no comfort, there's no norm, So I think that attributes to like a lot of the success that we've been able to have is people it's a burn the boat mentality.
Yeah,
no
retreat.
It's hard, because I always say if I did what we did in Louisiana, I wouldn't be able to like turn off those distractions, because I'd still have buddies saying, "Hey, let's go get a drink tonight. Hey, let's go play golf," that kind of stuff. So,
no, absolutely. You have to, you have to burn the boats. You have to commit everything you got. It takes a tremendous amount of force for a plane to get off the ground. And if you want to be rich, you have to think whatever you have to do and 10x that, like do it even more.
Yeah. Kind of, so let's tag in on the market ownership. Now that you've been in market owner, you've been running a super successful market. Since when? When did y'all open up Albuquerque?
We opened in June of last year.
So just hit a year mark. All
Yep.
right.
Okay,
So one year of experience.
Already
in
got a
market owner.
spinoff.
Yep.
So kind of talk about some of the highs and lows that you've been through in this past year.
It's just been a good run, man. It's been awesome. We took a big swing at it right from the beginning. I knew I wanted I knew it'd be easier to keep a high pace than to build to one.
I always tell people it's like going on a hike. When you sit down and you like indulge, eat a sandwich, it's so much harder to get up and start walking uphill again.
Absolutely.
But if you just keep on walking, like take a short little break, it's so much easier to maintain the growth. But y'all probably experienced that.
No, for sure. It's easier to recruit. It's easier to sell vision when you have an office that is, having multiple sales every single day.
You
multiple
can point
people
on somebody they can say they made 50, 60 in a month.
Yep, exactly. It's you're an Indeed recruit, right? What'd you make last week? $7,000. Awesome. Cool, man. Take a seat.
Right.
Tell you how this works after the meeting.
So nice.
Awesome. It's so cool,
Yep. Christian Davesworth, he tells that story all the time. One of his first meetings, Dylan Crofasi, one of my first recruits, stood up, and he was 19 or 20 years old at the time, and he had talked about made $72,000 in a month.
Yeah.
And Christian was like, that was it. That was the rest of the story. He said, when I saw this guy, he made $70,000.
Yeah,
that was enough.
Yeah, no, that'll do it. Yeah.
But whenever y'all opened up in June, right? You had your initial crew that came out there and opened your office with you, right? We kind of talk about, because we work together all the time, but whenever y'all came in, vibes were high. Everybody was excited. Fresh Hood. Talk about, because you came out and you're one of the fastest offices to ever hit $1 million, right? At the time, I think you were.
Yeah.
come in, drive a lot of revenue, and then the morale kind of just levels out. The newness is over.
Yeah.
Talk about how you're able to, because I think the market owners
I had to transition it pretty quickly.
Because there's a lot of market owners that that watch this podcast and business owners that whenever you have a new, it's all on morale, but then whenever it gets down to the newness is over, then it comes to discipline.
Exactly. So I didn't have a lot of recruits that came with me from Phoenix. Performance Windows gave me a blitz and encouraged me to recruit very heavily from that blitz. That being said, the blitz was a lot of grass is greener type guys. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That thought like, new hood? Oh man, it's going to be so great over there. And I kind of let them hype that up, I don't know if you guys see that the amount of signs that we collect, but there is plenty of other competing window companies in my area. It doesn't matter. We're better.
Yeah.
But I encouraged them to treat these doors like no one had ever knocked them before. And they did. And it's the same mindset as if you and I were in hood and I told you like, you know what? Let's go over here and knock this door because my buddy works for Renewal by Anderson. He just dropped price at this guy last night for $98,000.
Yep.
And dude really wanted to do it, but he didn't. And I know we could get him done for 50.
Oh,
how are you going to go knock that door? Like,
how is smile?
Yeah, are you gonna let them tell you, hey, I'm busy right now? No, you might be interested in what I'm doing, dude.
You gotta listen.
Yes, exactly. You're not gonna give up until you get the set because you know that they're interested, and if people believe that there's sales behind the door, they will. So the habit and just doing the job long enough, you'll be able to convince yourself of that. But in the beginning, people need to believe it. And I had like veterans of Performance Windows that were prone to those type of excuses, bad hood, poor people, bunch of renters. Somebody was just here from another window company type thing. And when those excuses started happening, because they did after about 2 weeks, I just fired all those guys. I did. I just fired them all.
You gotta get rid of cancer.
I used the momentum that they had to recruit and have new people see that success. And as soon as that success started to drop from those older people, I squeezed the soap on them, and I didn't care which way they go. I want them to do good, but I'm not gonna let them make 2 sets a day average to a new recruit. I'm not going to let a new recruit come into my office and feel so good because they got 2 sets. And I mean, Joe over there has been here for 3 months and he only got 1 yesterday. So I must be very good at this job.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very crucial because we see new people come in and they have success, right? But I think the point that I want to drive home on, and maybe you can elaborate on why, how do you prevent it? Maybe some actions that you do, but we go, especially us, we travel to these offices, right? And we walk in there and you have a veteran knocker that's only got 2 sets, right? And then the new guy sets 2 and he thinks he's a hero now, right? And I think that if you're able to, like you said, as soon as you see it, squeeze the soap and get everything you can out of them, but you got to be able to get them out of the room because if you leave them in there too long, well, then that is your culture.
It is.
What do you say the timeline was when you first kind of went through that first cleansing of all those bad people? How long do you think they stuck in there?
Like 4 weeks.
Yeah. And that's a good lesson because, even in some of the markets that in my region right now, we deal with, I hate when it gets to that point, but we wipe out a room and we got to go through a rebuild. And the mindset is like it can be rebuilt in 2 weeks.
Literally fast. And the thing that makes people hesitant about letting people go is treating their office more like a team or like a fraternity or like a club or like
club culture.
Hey, like we're a band of brothers on a war mission together. We're not. We're actually in competition with each other.
Business versus business.
Exactly. And we're all here to make money together, and that's the extent of our of our relationship. Like we're not going to tie our success to each other. and do that, because that stuff can be very toxic for culture too.
Yeah. Winning culture
and it can
is a
make
great
you
thing.
and can make the market owner like hesitant to apply the same disciplines to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. There needs to be a level of respect in leadership rather than that friendly. I a lot of times in my office, I use the analogy of running an office is kind of like a prison, if you think about it. Like the warden is the market owner,
Yeah.
and then your correctional officers are the closers,
Yep.
and then all the knockers are the inmates, right? Now, is it ever a good thing whenever the knockers and the COs are best friends?
No.
That's not a good thing.
No.
There needs to be a fine line between friendship and business, right?
That way there can be accountability.
Exactly. Same thing as it goes even with the warden. Whenever the warden's not in the loop with the COs, that's not a good thing. He doesn't know what's going on in the prison. That means things are probably bad things are happening.
Yeah.
And so I always go through that mindset of like, you need to run it in that same type of mindset is like, don't trust anything the knockers say. When they're saying move hood, this and that, they're always lying. They're just trying to sell the COs to sell the warden, but it's just another analogy I like to use whenever we're running our, it's got to be a business. There's no friendships in that room.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that on top of that, I think that's something that you do a real good job at is, not letting your closers get too friendly with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of y'all's communication that y'all have in y'all's closer chat.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, let's kind of talk about, because me and you had that conversation a while back and we were talking about recruiting, right? That's a big push. Obviously, you're a top recruiter, but training people on how to recruit. You know what I mean? Which has been a challenge for you.
Yeah.
Right. Billy was a good recruiter, which is why he's where he's at today.
Mm-hmm.
But these other people, right, training them that skill set of being able to recruit, not just, from Louisiana, but just random people locally, right? Talk about some of the challenges that you faced when trying to get them to understand that concept.
Honestly, wasn't always a good recruiter. Like I said, when I got my market, I didn't even have an active recruit like working for the company. But benefits sell. So I think benefits are the best way to sell the job.
Mm-hmm.
You get stuck in the weeds talking about the features of the job.
Explain that a little bit more for the people.
Features tell, benefits sell. That goes with closing. That goes with anything. So features are, it's 5 hours a day. Here's the script.
Mm-hmm.
It's the morning meeting every day. It's this. Benefits are, it's $10K a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's direct deposit cash to your bank account. You don't have to wait for the project to install. There is no pipeline.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
That's what's
Face-to-face sales. Best way to see if it's for you is to come to one of these morning meetings that we have. What are you doing tomorrow, 9:30?
Yep.
He said it.
Urgency.
Yeah, he just
Straight
said
to
it.
the point.
You just said it, and let your market owner close it. Let the team close it. Let him see and multiple sources of information. It's one thing when it's just coming from you, but use the resources that are available to you. Our company has a recruiting platform on Instagram, which is great and super helpful. If anybody's watching this company has another resource like that, that's great. But my office is designed to recruit. It's all performance windowed out. Every time somebody in my office hits Big Check Friday, I print it, I frame it, I put it on the wall.
Yep.
The wall's huge.
Yeah.
I actually recruited.
It's filling up.
Yeah. I actually recruited a guy came in to install an alarm in our office.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "What are those paychecks?" Yeah, dude. How much you making? Not that. Oh, let me tell you about how this works then, dude. So you might be interested. And he's going to qualify this month.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But that's how it goes. If people don't know what you're doing, why would they do it with you? Or how would they do it with you?
And that's the other thing too. It's the same as doors. It's a numbers thing. If you're not talking about it all the time, if you're not telling everyone about it all the time, then nobody knows what you're doing, and nobody's going to ask how they can get in.
Mm-hmm.
People should know what you're doing, that you love it, that you make a lot of money, and that you're hiring.
Yep. And it's the topic of every topic of any conversation. People call me from back home and I haven't talked to them in months, just checking in. I end up trying to recruit them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but that's the reality. That's why we're in the positions that we're in today, is because every person that gives us an opportunity is an opportunity to sell.
Yeah. I tried to recruit my Uber driver on the way to the airport.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what we talk about. We're obsessed.
Yeah. I think it's like the recruiting aspect is just so good. And I think that Y'all had a good run up in Albuquerque on that, and it's something they are still constantly working on.
I think we have a strong recruiting like culture in the office. I have knockers that have recruits that are knocking right now, and every closer has their recruits now. I think where it became a problem is in the beginning I wasn't setting that expectation. I was telling people like, yeah, all you need to be a closer is 8 deals, 2 months in a row, boom, you're a closer. And I was like not setting the expectation of, and you need 2 recruits, and you need to do 2 recruits. And I wasn't really like
harping on that. I
think I was kind of leaning heavily on our Indeed machine that we have. And plus the core that I had is just, yeah, Indeed's been great for us in Albuquerque. We've done millions and millions of dollars with Indeed recruits.
Right. And then also because like let's talk about, I don't want to name drop, but let's talk about like one of your closers in your office, older guy, right? It's easy for people, ain't made a Facebook post in 3 years. You know what I mean? Doesn't have like all of his, they might be in, nursing homes or whatever, ain't got no friends really. Talk about how you coached him to recruits, and now he's bringing in recruits all the time into your office.
That's true. Yeah. So we have a closer like that. He's actually a dog, man. He's an awesome closer. He's an awesome knocker.
How old would you say he is?
He's in his 50s.
50s, yeah.
Yeah. Goes home, spends time with his wife. His kids are grown. You know what I mean? Doesn't post on Facebook. Probably hadn't made a post in 12 years on Facebook.
Yeah. Yep.
And doesn't do anything. Doesn't go out. Just spends time with his family. And he found very, very difficult to recruit. So I started showing him how to use social media. Basically, hey man, when you go to a barbecue, when you get your truck washed, when you do this and you do that, just make regular posts, and then also make a post of, oh yeah, I made 12 grand this week. Yep. Oh yeah, so did this guy in my office. He made 8 grand, and this guy qualified this. And so people know what you're doing, and people see that you're having fun and that you're enjoying the benefits of what you do.
Yeah.
And people will reach out. We also went and I like to recruit salespeople and people like that are trying to make a commission off of me. You want to try and sell me? Let's hear it. What do you got? I love to be sold, you know?
I do too.
And then I'll just call, man, you're really good. What's your commission on this? Oh, it's like $6. That's terrible, bro. You should be selling what I sell. I sell windows. What are you doing tomorrow?
Yep.
And I set an appointment and I get them into my office, and they come into my office and they have the same experience I had when I walked into an office. You're telling me that dude made 7 grand last week? Dude, how? Show me. I'm ready to quit my job, burn the bridges, move across the country. I'm ready to take advantage of it. And when you have that level of enthusiasm and that level of commitment to this, that's when you see the result.
Dude, I was working with a market owner and recruiting obviously, and we were talking about one of his closers went to the mall, and he was going through the mall or whatever, and they got the shoe cleaner guys there. And those shoe cleaner guys, like they were like from like they were on the East Coast, like New York, Pittsburgh, somewhere around there. And they moved. It's in Utah. They moved to Utah for the shoe cleaning service, right?
That's wild.
And it's like, and they were making what, $1,500 a week?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what? Like you moved across the country for shoe cleaning?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, and that's exactly what they pitched. Like, dude, you need to come sell what we're selling. High ticket items, right?
Yep.
You selling a shoe cleaner for $100. Even if the profit margin's 100%, you making $100. You ain't making no money.
No.
You got to sell 10 of them a day to make 1,000.
Yep.
We said we make 1 sale per day. You're making minimum $1,000.
Yep.
And that's minimum. Yep. So I think whenever, like you were talking about benefits and features, I think a lot of people, whenever they go through recruiting, is they talk too much on the features and not the benefits enough. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're going to have all this other stuff, but that's like any job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
benefits.
You're going to have meetings you have to show up to at any other job. You're going to have a start time that you got to start. That's normal. But the benefits is like how much this company can change your life.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, like you said, is like let the market owner come in and do their job, and they're going to sell them on the vision. But all you got to do is just get them in the room, and then the rest is going to be, history. I always say that, and I was saying this on the closer call the other day, is a key indicator for me on a successful office and an unsuccessful office is if I walk in there and the knockers are recruiting, they're talking about closer, they're talking about market owner. That is the first key. Because if the only person that's recruiting in an office is the market owner or one, maybe two closers, that's dead. That's going to run out eventually, right? You got to make sure that you're constantly, even the new guy, you got a new Indeed guy start, gets his first sale in the first week. It's like, hey, bro, you got some friends that want to do this stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're already starting this, know, not waiting until they become a closer, until they, it's kind of like, I always use the financial, because he got me on with these financial advisors a long time ago. And it's like, a lot of people want to wait till they're rich to get financial advisors. It's like, no, dude, like you want to start now so you can learn that aspect. Same thing with building a business, right? But to build a business, McDonald's recruits people to come work for them. You know what I mean? Same thing as our business. We have to recruit people to come work for us and to come build this business with us.
Absolutely.
So
no, I think having a good recruiting culture is huge. And we were drowning in recruits, especially after our spinoff. And because I constantly call everybody, so many people, that we had to turn off Indeed. And we turned it off, and we still have recruits coming. I have that guy that I just told you about, Gabriel, that came in to install our alarms. He already has 2 recruits.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah.
I think that's so crucial, and that's just, like I said, that's just also, if you're a market owner, when you're looking at the same people over and over and over again, right? No new faces, then your job becomes miserable and hard.
Does.
You know what I mean? Because you want to see people progress. You know what I mean? The second the room becomes stagnant is the second it becomes stale. So making sure that you constantly have that new movement, right? But that was a good topic on the recruiting. Let's talk about like where you want to go, bro. You know what I mean? Like with this car that we're in, we make a lot of freaking money. What are some of your goals that you want to be able to, build wealth with?
Yeah, so I just want to keep buying properties, and I think that that's kind of the way I'm going to go as far as my wealth building portfolio goes. Every time I can build a house, or buy a house, I can write it off and put somebody in it and create cash flow passively off of that while my houses grow.
Right. So you plan on going to like long rentals or what?
Yeah. Yeah, but I want to grow. I want to go as far as this company, everything that it has to give. Right now, I'm happy being the market owner of Albuquerque, but if the company calls me to do something else, I will. I always say, like, do the job of the person you want and not the job of the one that you have, and you'll get that job. Like, there's a person at McDonald's, every single McDonald's, guys, that makes 80, 90 grand a year. They started on the fries.
That's true.
You know what I mean? The reason that they're making 90 grand a year at McDonald's is because when they were on the fries, they started doing other stuff that they weren't getting paid to do.
Bringing more value.
Yep. They started, hey, you know what? Nothing going on right now. I don't have any fries to cook. I'm going to go wipe these windows down. I'm going to clean off all the tables.
Yep.
I'm going to drop some disinfectant in this gross kid's playpen. And then when the cashier position opened up, I'm like, well, let's put Susan on the cashier. She's always chipping in and helping out and doing stuff she's not getting paid for. And then Susan becomes a manager and then manages the whole store. And then she's making $90K a year and her kids go to private school. So there is no downside to effort.
Right. And you get rewarded way better at performance than you do at McDonald's.
Exactly. So when I wanted to be a market owner, like I didn't have like a personal relationship with the owners of our company. I didn't even follow them on social media until this last meeting in January. So I never like did anything other than the systems. I just did the systems, and then I started to help my market owner. I started to train knockers. I started recruiting. I started doing the job of the work of the job that I wanted. And then I just made myself the most obvious pick. I know the goal of the company is to grow, and so when they're ready to grow again, I want to be the most obvious pick.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
I always use the verbiage of force your promotion. Like that's what's beautiful about this company is you have the ability to force growth.
Yeah.
You know, I can recruit people. I've had it. I'll never forget. Kyle Deaver walked in my office in Denver one time, and you know, we were in a closer meeting, and we walked out into the knocker meeting, and every chair was filled. We had people standing up in the back of the room, and he was like, "Y'all sit down," and there was nowhere to sit. And we were like, "Well, there was like 30 plus people in this room." And after the meeting, he was like, "Holy crap, we have to split this office." And I was like, "That's what I've been trying to say, you know." But I'm ready for the spinoff. But it's forcing your promotion because you're able to grow on a smaller scale.
Yep.
Cool deal. Well, that's kind of all I got. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Any thoughts?
Yeah.
What about you, Hayden? You got anything you want to talk about? Anything in particular?
No.
Cool. Well, I think we definitely covered some good stuff. I really, I enjoy working with you. You give a different perspective than, what we came up through. You know what I mean? Having prior sales experience, you know what I mean? I think you're doing a hell of a job, bro. Won't be long, you'll be a regional.
Thank you.
The next podcast, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but we greatly appreciate you coming on the podcast, sharing a little bit about yourself, and obviously all the knowledge that you have just on, growing sales teams, organizations, and making a lot of money as well too. So,
absolutely, I appreciate you guys having me, man. And it's awesome that you do this. It's critical. It's cool not just for everyone who works at Performance Windows. You guys have Vivint execs and all kinds of cool people on here all the time. So it's being able to scale your business, being able to train your team, being able to take a product that people need or want or provides a value to people, and being able to like get that product to them is always gonna benefit you. People are your best resource. So when you understand how to motivate people, how to get people what they want, they benefit and you do too.
Right. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, we greatly appreciate you all watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to all of our channels. If you're watching us on a podcast app, make sure to rate us, leave us a review. And we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.